Part 5. Miscellaneous. Section 28 to 32. Provision for suit etc. for which prescribed period is shorter than the period prescribed by Indian Limitation Act 1908 is contained in Section 30 of Limitation Act 1963, which provision of the Act is stipulated for the purpose of determining any period of limitation prescribed by any suit, appeal, or application by any special or local law. The provisions contained in Section 4 to 24 shall apply only insofar as to the extent to which they are not expressly excluded by such period or local law. Section 29. A suit to redeem or recovery position of immovable property mortgage can be brought by the mortgagor within a period of 30 years. For a suit for possession of immovable property based on title, period of limitation is 12 years from the date when possession of the defendant became adverse to the plaintiff. The period of limitation for a suit related to tort mentioned in schedule of the article is 1 year. Under Limitation Act 1963, the prescribed period of the limitation for a suit for compensation for malicious prosecution is 1 year. Under the Limitation Act, the period of limitation for filing a suit for compensation for false imprisonment being to run from time when imprisonment ends. Limitation Act applies to only civil suit, which is correct of law of the limitation. Limitation bars the judicial remedies. Match. Krishnamurthy S. Sitru versus O.V. Narsimha Siddhi. Sufficient cause under Section 5 of the Limitation Act. Ramnath Saho versus Govardhan Saho. Continuing tort, Section 22 of Limitation Act. Shankar Dasidar versus Banjula Dasidar. Adverse possession, Section 27 of Limitation Act. Tilka Ram versus Nathu. Acknowledgement, Section 17 of the Limitation Act. Period of limitation for a suit relating to a count is Section 3 year. Any suit for which no period of limitation is provided elsewhere in schedule or any other act, the limitation would be 3 years. Limitation Act 1963 repealed the Indian Limitation Act of 1908. The Limitation Act 1963 contained 32 sections and entries in Schedule 137. The law of limitation only bar remedy but does not extinguish the right. The period of limitation mentioned in Schedule of the Act for suit relating to account, contract, declaration, decree, suit relating to movable property, etc. is 3 years. Limitation Act brought into the force in 1964. Match. Suit in from forma pauperis. Section 15 of the Limitation Act. Proceeding stay by any injunction. Strong. Suit in forma pauper. Section 13 of the Limitation Act. Proceeding stay by the injunction. Section 15 of the Limitation Act 1963. Defeat in jurisdiction. Section 14 of the Limitation Act. Effect of fraud on limitation, section 17. In which one of the following cases the court held that Limitation Act bar remedy but does not destroy the right? Food Corporation of India versus Jugal Kishore Agarwal, Mandas versus State of MP, N. Bala Krishna versus M. Krishnamurthy. In which one of the following cases the Supreme Court held that law of limitation may harshly affect particular party, but it has to be applied when the statute so prescribed and court have no power to extend the period of limitation on equitable ground. P.K. Ramachandran versus State of Kerala. Law of limitation as considered in Limitation Act does not bar of remedy if the suit has instituted under Indian Divorce Act. Limitation Act 1963 contain 31 section and 137 article. The operation of Limitation Act 1963 is prospective and retrospective both. Acts took leave to sue a proper on last date of the limitation period on 1/1/2000. The court did not grant such permission and asked him to pay the court fee within 1 week. His suit will commence on 1/1/2000. A gave loan of 1 lakh to B against the pronote which became for the payment on 1/1/2014. A dies on 31st/12/2013, leaving behind a sole legal heir S, who was born in 1/1/2000. When would the period of limitation for filing a suit for recovery shall begin to run? 1/1/2018. Expiry of period of limitation renders the debt unenforceable. Law of limitation is a procedural. Period of 3 years is prescribed under Article 137 of Limitation Act 1963 in case where no other period of limitation is provided for filing any application. Under the Limitation Act, the period of limitation for filing the application for order to set aside for abatement is 60 days.